Hello everyone, my name is Devendra Kaur and today we are going to discuss about our chapter life processes, and this is the introduction of the chapter in which we will also continue about the types of modes of nutrition. Okay, so let's start this chapter by a little difference between the living and non-living organisms. The name of the chapter is life processes, so we should know, do all the living organisms perform the life processes, and what are life processes actually. So there should be a one little difference between the living and or non-living organisms which you all should be aware of. Well, living organisms are those that perform certain features or certain processes which are not done by the non-living ones. The living things are what? They are the complex organizations of molecules, okay, which perform certain life processes such as growth, metabolism, respiration, excretion, digestion, reproduction, name a few. Okay, so these are the basic functions performed by the living organisms, and those functions are the part of life processes. While in case of non-living organisms, they do not grow. Have you ever seen your toothbrush has grown to 1 feet or 2 feet? Have you ever seen that the table that was there in your room in the childhood has grown and grown so big? No, it does not happen in case of non-living organisms. You have seen yourself growing, you have seen your parents growing, you perform certain features because you are a living organism. But in case of non-living organisms, no such kind of thing occurs such as growth, metabolism, reproduction, respiration. They do not breathe, non-livings do not breathe. And you all are aware about it from the class 4 or 5. Okay, so that's a basic difference between the living organisms and the non-living organisms. Now we should continue to our basic point of the chapter, which is life processes. First of all, we should know what are life processes. We all know that all the living organisms perform some basic functions or processes so that we could remain alive. For example, we breathe, we respirate so that we can remain alive, right? We eat food so that we can do our work and we get the energy to do our daily work, and also we continue to do some activities which are we not aware about. For example, whatever we eat, you can say ate, is digested or not in our body, right? Even when we are asleep, our body is performing those functions. For example, breathing. When we sleep, it does not mean that we have stopped breathing. If we have stopped breathing, of course that person is dead, right? Even when we are sleeping, the processes of heart pumping the blood, the processes of digestion, breathing continues. Okay, so what are life processes? The processes which keep together the living organisms alive, the processes which together perform the functions which perform together to keep the person alive and perform the job of body maintenance are known as life processes. So the nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion are in our syllabus, which we will deeply study. While the movement, reproduction, growth and control are not in this chapter, but we will study about them in the upcoming chapters. So first let us talk about what is nutrition. We should know about nutrition. Nutrition is what? The process in which any living organism obtain and utilize the nutrients, and those nutrients come from food that person or organism has eaten. Okay, so nutrition is a process in which the organism obtain and utilize the food. Those nutrients are what? They are source of energy to that individual organism, and from where they obtain? From the outside of the body. On our earth, the life completely depends upon the carbon based molecules, which contains carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Okay, so these carbon based molecules or carbon based nutrients are essential for the body maintenance of the living organisms. So since the living organisms are of different types, for example human beings, plants, animals, birds, reptiles, So they all perform different kind of nutrition, especially the plants. The plant nutrition involves the process of photosynthesis, in which in the presence of carbon dioxide, water, sunlight, they give out oxygen and glucose. They prepare oxygen and glucose from these inorganic raw materials. Okay, so what do they do? Do they take anything from outside, completely taking the food from the outside? No, they prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, and the food is prepared in their own body. That is the plant nutrition. And animal nutrition involves taking of food inside the body and its digestion, okay, from the surroundings. Next one is, dear students, respiration. Well, in respiration, it is actually a process which involves breakdown of nutrients. Let me tell you, respiration is different from breathing. Okay, it is a process. Breathing is we have taken in oxygen and taken out carbon dioxide. That's it. Okay, but in case of respiration, whenever we take in the oxygen, the nutrients break down through oxidation, the oxygen we take in, and they release the energy for cellular needs, and for this many organisms take oxygen from outside the body. Okay, that's the respiration. Then comes the transportation. Well, dear students, in case of single celled organisms such as amoeba, they do not have special body organs to obtain a particular kind of functions. For example, in our body, we have stomach to digest the food, we have lungs to breathe in, and we have the whole respiratory system, the digestive system, and we have the whole circulatory system of the body in which transportation is done, where the energy obtained from food is transported to the whole body, to each and every cell. Okay, so that's in the transportation. But in case of single celled organisms, they do not have that thing, so that single cell performs the process of transportation. But in our body, we are multicellular, so in our body each and every cell tries to do and makes every possible effort to do this process. Okay, so organisms that develop specific organs and tissues for transportation of materials from one part of the body to another part is called transportation of those materials. Then the last one is excretion, which we will study in this chapter. Well, whatever the biochemical reactions that are involved in the assimilation of carbon dioxide, digestion of nutrients and oxidation of digested nutrients, and the generation of some byproducts which are completely useless for our cells and can be toxic if are not thrown out from the body. So the removal of that useless, excess or toxic waste from the body is called excretion, and the whole system that contains tissues and organs related to it is known as excretory system. Now let us talk about nutrients. What are nutrients? Well, nutrients are of two types, organic or inorganic, whatever they are. Okay, but both are necessary for our human being body. So nutrients are inorganic as well as organic substances which the organisms obtain from their surroundings, so that they can synthesize their body constituents and use them as a source of energy. Because if nutrition is not provided to that organism will not be able to do their daily course. Okay, so that is the nutrition, and it is defined as the process of intake of nutrients and its utilization by an organism in various biological activities. Okay, that is the nutrition. Now nutrition and nutrients are those different terms. Okay, remember the nutrients are organic or inorganic substances, but nutrition is a process. Now the nutrients are of two types, my dear students. I already told you they are of two types, organic as well as inorganic. Organic nutrients are the nutrients that contain carbon and hydrogen, which are collectively known as hydrocarbons, and are usually the products of living things or living beings. Okay, and we get them from the plants in the form of cereals, wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits, and from other animals in the form of milk, eggs, meat. Okay, these contain carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Actually, Carbohydrates, proteins and fats are carbon based molecules, and carbon based molecules are the organic ones, of course, because nutrients which are made of carbon and hydrogen are organic ones. Okay. Next one are inorganic nutrients. Inorganic nutrients are the atoms or molecules that contain a combination of atoms which are not carbon and hydrogen. Well, this includes water, carbon dioxide. Well, yes, carbon dioxide is inorganic. It does contain carbon, but not in that form. Okay. So carbon exists in various forms, which we will study in the carbon and its compounds chapter. So carbon dioxide is an inorganic nutrient, remember that. Water is there. Common salt which is used in our food is also inorganic. Also some minerals, iron, copper, zinc. Okay, these all are inorganic nutrients. Now let's move on to the modes of nutrition. Now modes of nutrition are of two types: autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. In autotrophic mode of nutrition, it is a kind of nutrition in which the organism will prepare its own food. That means photosynthesis will prepare its own food, especially the organic food, by utilizing the only inorganic raw materials. Now what are inorganic raw materials for plants? Sunlight is inorganic, water is inorganic, carbon dioxide is inorganic. So what they will do in the presence of chlorophyll, by taking energy from sunlight, inhaling carbon dioxide and taking water from the roots, these inorganic substances are taken, inorganic raw materials are taken from the surroundings by the plant, and preparation of food will be done in the leaves, okay, where they will convert all those inorganic substances into organic ones. For example, glucose. Starch is prepared, glucose is prepared. Starch and glucose are organic substances. Okay. So that is the autotrophic mode of nutrition, and it is done in all the green plants and cyanobacteria. Next one is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. It is a kind of nutrition in which organisms derive their energy from the intake and digestion of organic substances which are prepared by autotrophs and other organic sources. Okay. Sorry about that. They do not obtain their own food. They do not prepare their own food. They obtain their food from the outside utilizing the organic substances. Also, they do not have any kind of photosynthetic pigment so that they can trap the light and prepare their own food. Also, they do not convert light energy into chemical energy. Heterotrophs do not do so. And the examples of autotrophs do not do so. So heterotrophs are animals, humans, parasites and fungus. Okay, now there is a difference between them. Auto means self and trophs means feed. They self feed themselves. Okay, so autotrophs possess some photosynthetic pigments for trapping the light, and then they convert light energy into the chemical energy. For example, green plants and cyanobacteria. While in case of heterotrophs, they obtain food through the intake and digestion of organic substances, which includes animal and plant tissue. From animals we can take egg, milk, meat, and from plant there are fruits and vegetables. Okay, so they do not convert light energy into chemical energy. Heterotrophs do not do so. But heterotrophs are of three types. That means heterotrophic nutrition or heterotrophic mode of nutrition is of three types. First one is holozoic mode of nutrition, which is present or performed by plants, which are performed by humans, not plants, humans, animals, birds. Okay, in this the organism will feed by ingesting the solid organic matter, which is then digested and absorbed into their body. For example, in case of us humans, we intake food from our mouth, then we have a buccal cavity where the food is chewed with the help of tongue, saliva and teeth, and then we swallow that food, which goes into esophagus. That food goes to the stomach, where it is digested in the presence of gastric juices, and then it goes to the small intestine where the remaining food is digested, and then it goes to the large intestine where the useless food is taken out and the water is absorbed. Okay, and that useless or waste or toxic substances that are present will be thrown out from the body through the anus. That means we have particular kind of organs to perform this process. We animals, we humans, and you can say the birds have the organs to do so. So we perform which mode of nutrition? We perform holozoic nutrition. Then the other type of heterotrophic mode of nutrition is saprophytic mode of nutrition, which refers to the such kind of nutrition in which the organism derive their nutrients or obtain their nutrients from dead and decaying matter, or you can say rotten organic matter. For example, rotten leaves, rotten bread, dead animals, household waste, non-living organic matter which is present in the soil. Okay, so the examples of it are fungus, bacteria. Okay, they obtain their food from this mode of nutrition, and the fungus and bacteria that perform this function are known as saprophytes. Then is parasitic mode of nutrition. Well, it is a type of nutrition in which the organisms or the parasites obtain their food or obtain their nutrients from the other living organisms. They feed on the living organisms. Okay, whatever that living organism has been the host of the that parasite, actually the organism that's supposed to provide substances to a parasite is called as a host. Sorry. So you can say the organism which from which the food is absorbed is called as host. Okay, so the host do not get any benefit from the parasite. The parasite takes everything from that host. Even that in some cases the host dies because of that parasite. For example, cuscuta, which is in flowering plants we have cuscuta, and in some animals we have plasmodium, roundworm, pinworm, tapeworm, liver fluke, fleas, lice, etc. These all are parasitic mode of nutrition. Then we have types of holozoic nutrition which contains herbivores, carnivores and omnivores, and you all are very much aware about it. Herbivores are those organisms which feed on the plants, for example deer, zebra, goat. And carnivores are the organisms which only feed on the flesh of the other animals or organisms, for example tiger, lion, leopard. And omnivores are those which feed on both plants and flesh of other organisms, for example bear, crow, human beings. Okay, we human beings are omnivores. So dear students, that's up for today's video. In the next video we will continue our topic from the topic of photosynthesis, site of photosynthesis. We will also study about grana and stroma. So stay tuned to my channel. In the next week I will upload that video. Thank you for watching.